Hello students. So in the last class I explained about equilibrium concept and also I solved one example problem. So and in this class I will explain one more method to solve that previous problem. That is, we have considered the forces like this. One force is acting in this direction and another force is acting in this direction, isn't it? So this is we have taken T1 tension, this is we have taken T2 tension. The angle between them is perpendicular. One more force is acting in down direction, F. And then, so how to solve without using Lami's theorem means, simultaneously we cannot able to find the resultant of three vectors. If there is one vector and this is another vector means we can use triangle law of vector addition or parallelogram law of vector addition and we can able to find the resultant vector. But three vectors means in this case we need to resolve the vectors. So out of three vectors, which vectors we have to resolve means, so for example this is acting at some direction, right, these two forces. Those forces we have to resolve. This is T1 means this angle is mentioned as 150, this angle is mentioned as 120 and this is 90 degrees, isn't it? So it is having two components. One component we have to take exactly opposite to the F force. This is one component. Then this is 120 degree means this angle is total is 180, right? So this becomes 60 degree. Then T1, this will become T1 cos 60 degree, cos component, and it is having one more component. So exactly one we have to consider other component perpendicular to first component. Then this will become T1 sin 60 degree. So we have resolved T1. Then another one vector is there. That vector also we have to resolve. So T2. T2, so it is having one component in this direction. And if you see that angle between these two vectors, this is 150 means this angle definitely will get 30 degree. That means T2 force, tension force is in this direction. It's one vector component is I am selecting exactly opposite to F. Then that will become T2 cos 30 and another component will come in this direction, that will become T2 sin 30. Then the object is under equilibrium. The object is under equilibrium means we can now balance. So acting in different direction, it is not possible to balance, right? So we have to somehow by resolving we have to bring in opposite direction in such a way that we have to resolve the two vectors. Then T1 cos 60 plus T2 cos 30, they are acting in a upper direction. Those force should be equal to F. Why? Because object is at rest, equilibrium. Then next, so we will see the value T1 cos 60 means 1 by 2 plus T2 cos 30 means root 3 T2 by 2 is equals to F. And then you see in this direction, x direction forces, T1 sin 60 is equals to T2 sin 30, both are balancing. Here sin 60, T1 sin 60, that is T1 root 3 by 2 is equals to T2 by 2. This 2 and 2 will get cancelled. This 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Then I can able to write T1 is equals to T2 by root 3. This is the relation, or T2 is equals to root 3 1. And here we have F equals T1 by 2 plus root 3 T2 by 2. So what I will do means, in place of T1 or in place of T2, I will substitute this value, then I can able to get the T1 in terms of f. T1 by 2 plus root 3 into root 3 T1. T2 is nothing but root 3 T1 by 2 is equals to f, and next T1 by 2, if you take common outside, root 3 into root 3, it will become 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, that means after solving you will get 4 T1 by 2, this equals f, or here 1 times, here 2 times. So T1 value you will came to know that is f by 2. The previous Lami's theorem also same thing, T1 value we got f by 2, and similarly if you put the value of T1 here, then if you put the value of T1 here, you can able to find T2 value also. So T2 by root 3 is equals to f by 2, I can able to write. Why? Because T1 is nothing but f by 2. Then T2 is equals to root 3 f by 2. So whichever method you feel easy, in that method you practice. But you have to know both the methods. So all the time Lami's theorem is not applicable. Only 3 unknown forces means we can use. So most of the time you have to learn how to resolve the vectors and how to balance the forces. See, in the next example, these are the two rigid supports, and the string is tied like this. So here there is a object, a body of mass m. Let us take otherwise the weight acting downward direction, that is 100 Newton. Then here this angle is mentioned, that angle is 45. Here this is 90 degree. Okay. So here in this string the tension let us take T2, and here let us take T1. So from both the methods you can find the answer. See here, this is T1 and this is T2, and here the force is given 100 Newton. So which vector we can resolve? So definitely it is acting some other direction, right, not in x-axis or y-axis. So better to resolve this vector, we can solve the problem easily. If I resolve T1 vector into two components, see, one component I will consider exactly opposite to the 100 Newton, another component I will exactly take that is opposite to the T2 vector. And that means then this is the angle means, so you can consider this angle is 45 means definitely this angle also will become 45. This angle is 45, then you can consider this is T1 cos 45, and here which side you will consider theta, that is cos, and opposite T1 you can consider sin 45, isn't it? And then so now you can neglect this T1 vector, they are in equilibrium, these two forces are balancing, these two forces are balancing in this direction. Then directly I can able to write T2 is equals to T1 cos 45, and 100 Newton, 100 is acting downward, that is balancing, that 100 is balancing T1 sin 45. And if you see T2 is equals to T1 by root 2, cos 45 means 1 by root 2, and in the next 100 is equals to T1 sin 45 means root 2, or you can say how much is the value, T1 is equals to 100 root 2, isn't it? T1 is equals to 100 root 2, and what is T2 value? T2 value is equals to T1 means 100 root 2 by root 2. This will get cancelled, T2 value becomes 100 Newton. Right. That means here T2 and this 100 Newton are equal. 100 Newton and T1 value is 100 root 2. This is one method to solve the problem. And what is another method? By using Lami's theorem that you can able to consider T2 or this 100 Newton, right? 100 by this angle. So what is this angle? Definitely if you observe, that comes 135. 100 by sine 135. This equals, and here you can consider this angle. What is that angle? That means for T1 means you can consider this angle between 100 and T2. So T1 by, you can consider it as sine 90, and for T2 the angle between T1 and 100, again if you observe this angle, that angle also here sine 135 plus 90 means here this angle also will come sine 135, right? And next if you see here 100 by sine 135 means that is 1 by root 2, sine 90 plus 45, you can write 1 by root 2. This also equals to T1, and this is equals to here T2 sine 135 means that means again 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2 means here you can see the expression T1 you can able to write 100 root 2, isn't it? And T2 you can write it as root 2 will get cancelled, you will get 100 Newton. So both methods also we can solve. So whichever method you feel easy, you practice in that method. So I hope you understood these problems based on equilibrium. And next very important concept I will explain. So all concepts are important only. Remember, the next concept is pseudo force. So to understand this pseudo force, you have to know about frame of reference. In starting chapter also you may have heard this word frame of reference, and you might have know the meaning of this meaning and definition of this frame of reference. That means from which place we stand and we observe the motion of objects. Suppose if I am standing on the earth and I am observing the motion of other objects, then that earth is my frame of reference. There I can able to consider a Cartesian coordinate system that will specify my position. So similarly, if I am inside the bus and observing the motion of other bodies, in that case that bus is nothing but my frame of reference, isn't it? So from which place we stand and we observe the motion of other bodies, there we can consider a coordinate system that is nothing but a frame of reference. Here two types of frame of reference will come. One is inertial frame of reference, inertial frame of reference, and another one is non-inertial frame of reference. Here inertial frame of reference, what does it mean? That frame of reference is a rest, or it is moving with constant velocity. Such a frame of reference is called as inertial frame of reference. we will consider Earth is a inertial frame of reference, even though it is revolving and rotating about its own axis. Approximately we can consider Earth is a inertial frame of reference. And next, non-inertial frame of reference. What does it means? Accelerating or rotating. Okay, if the frame of reference is accelerating system or it is rotating, then we can able to consider it as a non-inertial frame of reference. So this is about inertial frame and non-inertial frame. And now come to this pseudo force. What is this pseudo force? It is a virtual force, false force. Why we need this pseudo force means, suppose let us consider this is a lift. Inside the lift, one person is standing, and this is the frame of reference of this person. Lift is the frame of reference, and one more person standing on the earth. Okay, so here earth is the frame of reference for this A person, and for B person lift is the frame of reference. And in the lift, let us take there is a bulb, and he is observing the bulb. And also consider the lift is accelerating upward direction. So here what B person will tell about that lamp, that means it is on or off, not like that. So he observed that bulb and this string. For this B person, he will tell that on this system and tension force is acting upward direction, mg force is acting downward direction. So for the B person, T is equals to m into g. Right? Why? Because if you stand inside a lift and beside there may be another person, so what you will tell, other person is standing there only, means you will tell that that person is under rest, the person is at rest position. But a person is seeing outside the lift, standing on the ground. For this person, you and your friend both are accelerating. So if you change the frame of reference, definitely the situation also changes, isn't it? So for inside the person, this is at rest, it is not accelerating. All the time he is observing the position here only. So according to him, T is equals to m into g. But this person also observing the light or that bulb. For according to a person, what he will tell? He will tell that he is observing the lift is accelerating, then this is also accelerating upwards. You know that here you can able to write the equation as, here T is not equal to mg, upward direction T force is acting and downward direction mg force is acting. For the A person, the lift is accelerating, so T minus mg is equals to m into A. This is for second person. So out of these two, which is correct and which is wrong? A person is correct or B person is correct, or Newton's laws is correct? Which is correct and which is wrong? Definitely, here for a person what he said, right, this is correct. When the lift is accelerating upwards, definitely you can able to say that T is equals to m of g plus a. The same situation you observed in lift case, isn't it? When it is accelerating upwards, it is g plus a. But for this person, it is appears as m into g. So always remember, in accelerated frames, Newton's second law does not valid. That means in non-inertial frame, Newton's second law not valid. Only Newton's second law valid in inertial frame. In inertial frame, Newton's second law is valid. But somehow this person want to correct that expression. Okay. So somehow you want to get the same answer. T is equals to m of g plus a. For that purpose, what he will do? He will introduce a pseudo force. A person is accelerated frame, is observing the motion of the body, it is accelerating. In that case, to make that Newton's law apply, to apply the Newton's second law in accelerated frame, what he will do means he will introduce a virtual force or false force, that is called pseudo force. Then how to introduce that pseudo force means, suppose this object mass is m. That object mass m, we have to take mass of object which is accelerating. That mass we have to consider mass of object. And this system is accelerating a, right? Then this mass is also accelerating a. That acceleration we have to consider mass into acceleration. But this we have to consider in opposite direction. Always remember, pseudo force you have to consider in opposite direction. If an object is accelerating in this direction, so you are in non-inertial frame, accelerated frame. In that time you need to apply the pseudo force. That pseudo force magnitude is mass of that object and acceleration of that system or object, but the direction should be opposite. That is minus m into a. Then here how can I able to apply the pseudo force means T equals mg, right? So the system is accelerating in this direction, upward direction. I have to introduce the pseudo force in downward direction. How much? M into a. M into a. Then now the expression become T plus mg plus ma. Then I can able to write T is equals to m of g plus a. I hope you understood this concept. Okay. So to apply Newton's second law in accelerated frame or non-inertial frame, we need to consider a force, virtual force, that is called pseudo force. And what is the magnitude of pseudo force? That is mass of the object and acceleration. Always we have to consider the direction in opposite direction. So I hope you understood these concepts. So by this, almost all concepts are completed in Newton's laws of motion, and some problems I will explain in the next class. Then after we will enter into the new concept that is called friction. Okay, friction is also a part of Newton's laws of motion, but we will consider this Newton laws of motion as one part and friction as another part.